For those subs looking for more PvP videos, I'll get this out as soon as the weather where I am cools down a bit. It's just so hot that the room the computer's in heats up to the point where I'm sweating while playing the game. It's not fun for me. This build video is going to be a bit longer than other build videos because it was requested to be so. I hope you enjoy. I don't grab this because I have almost 31k. I don't need it anymore. I use Rocket Punch on cooldown, so an extra 8% damage is nice. I spam Flame Burst in the rotation, so having it always rock Combustible Gas Cylinder, which slows the target by 30%, is nice. I'll get into it more in the rotation part of the video. Heat Management. Every time Combustible Gas Cylinder hits somebody, it slows them by 30%. Combustible Gas Cylinder is damaged by 30%, this is nice. And it leads into Rail Shot, ignoring 30% of the target's armor and venting 8 heat on burning targets. This ability is shit, but you need to put a point here for this, which lets you have a spammable Rail Shot, basically. Pyro Shield does 7.2k damage over the duration of Energy Shield, but if you don't, which is over the course of a war zone, which is on average like 10 minutes long, it'll do like 30k damage. If you don't need that, you can put the points over here for damage mitigation. This makes Flame Sweep cost less and apply its effect. Apply a Combustible Gas Cylinder's effect to all targets it hits, and when Combustible Gas Cylinder applies its effect, it slows every target by 30%. So it hits 5 targets, it does like 1.7k on crit, plus Combustible Gas Cylinders 1.8k crit, give everything crits on it, and an AoE slow, so you're looking at 3.2k maybe, AoE, so 3k to 15k damage for Flame Sweep, which you use in the rotation. For this, I'll talk about it more later on. Firebug, you're relying on Combustible Gas Cylinders damage, Rail Shots damage, and Flame Burst damage primarily in this spec, so having this is just kind of mandatory. 3% accuracy and Rail Shot ignoring 45% of the target's armor, that's just nice. Most of your effects are fire based, so having an extra 6% crit is awesome. Cooldown of Flamethrower and Grapple is nice to have. Electro Dart by 10 seconds, reducing the cooldown of Electro Dart by 10 seconds. These are 2 free points. You can put them either in this or in damage reduction if you're taking a lot of damage. I put it here because I get cured a lot in this spec, so I don't really need the damage reduction. You spam Flame Burst in the rotation. I'll talk about it more later. So having this ability is an extra 6%. That's just nice. I like my crit, so in Combustible Gas Cylinder, an extra 3% crit for all tech abilities, and most of your abilities are tech, so it's nice. Retractable Blade I grab because it's awesome damage, and it slows the target by 50% for 6 seconds. And I grabbed the extra damage for it, and the 3% across the board for bleeding targets. Quell, this is primarily for healers who spam their fucking heals like crazy. Kind of self-explanatory, but you spam Flame Burst, so you get a free Rocket Punch every now and then. You do not have to wait for this to proc to use Rocket Punch. You just use Rocket Punch on cooldown, and it's procs. That's just extra nice damage. I only put 1 point in Prototype Flamethrower because, like I said, I'm spamming Flame Burst, and I'm using Flame Sweep when there's a bunch of targets together, so I don't really need it to have a 100%, 50% is fine. Then I put a point over in Retractable Blade slowing the target so that nobody can kite me, basically. I'll talk about it more in the rotation part of the video. And then I put 2 points over in Aim because damage across the board is just nice as opposed to putting it anywhere else. Now, I didn't grab this ability because I didn't feel like I needed it. I mean, I have my slow and I have my grapple. Nobody's really going to get away from me unless they're really trying and wasting all their cooldowns, which is so stupid. Okay, the rotation part of the video. It's just going to be a basic because if you're watching this, you probably already have an idea of how to use Power Tech. Basically, you spam Flame Burst and use Rocket Punch on cooldown, Rail Shot whenever it's up, but essentially you just spam and Flame Burst. If your target is trying to run away from you or running in that circle, you hit them with a Retractable Blade, which will slow them by 50%. which lets you get into position more effectively for prototype flamethrower whenever it's up to 3 stacks or 2 stacks, whichever. Doesn't really matter. Using it at 2 stacks is more effective than waiting for 3 stacks sometimes, if you're unlucky. You use Flame Sweep whenever there's 3 targets around you, and they're like trying to cap a target or something. You just spam Flame Sweep, hold them off until your allies get there too. If your allies are already there, you do 1 Flame Sweep to slow them by 30% for a few seconds, and you hit out an explosive dart to do a little bit extra damage. I build out my character crit and power balanced. It's always worked for me. I see no reason to stop, basically. Other than that, oh, I'm not using my generator yet. Yeah. Anyway, that's basically it. Hope you enjoyed the video.